All right, today we're doing something a little different. We're diving into Encompass Health's latest annual report, but we're not just going to be crunching numbers. Nope. We're going to treat this like a full-on medical checkup to see just how healthy this healthcare giant really is. So let's get right into it.
So, first off, what does Encompass Health actually do? Well, in the real world, they're all about recovery. They run these specialized hospitals that provide really intensive therapy to help people get back on their feet after something major, like a stroke, a serious accident, or a big surgery. It's a really, really critical part of the whole healthcare system.
Okay, so their whole business is making people healthy. But that kind of begs the question, right? How healthy is the business itself? It's time to open up their 2025 report and start our checkup.
Every good checkup starts with the basics, so let's check the vital signs from this past year. These are the big, top-line numbers that give us a quick snapshot of how the company did in 2025. The first number that pops out is a really strong one. Revenue, that's the total amount of money coming in the door, grew by 10.5%. For a company this size, that is a very, very healthy pulse. It shows some really strong and steady growth for the whole year.
Yeah, here's what's really interesting. Their profitability grew even faster than their revenue. This number, adjusted EBITDA, is basically a key measure of how well the company is running its core business. At almost 15% growth, well, that tells you they aren't just making more money, they're getting way more efficient at turning those sales into actual profit.
And wow, this is where it really hits home, especially for investors. Earnings per share jumped by a massive 23%. So what that really means is, after you pay for everything, the actual profit left over for shareholders saw this huge growth. That is a sign of a very robust financial metabolism.
So the vitals look great, right? But where is all this healthy growth coming from? For that, we've got to move to the next part of our checkup, their expansion strategy. And let's be clear, this wasn't just some clever accounting or, just raising prices. Encompass Health's growth was fueled by something you could actually see and touch, physical expansion. They were actively getting bigger in the real world.
And here's the proof. In 2025 alone, the company cut the ribbon on 8 brand new hospitals. I mean, think about that. That is a super clear, concrete sign of an aggressive growth plan in action. And this really shows their two-pronged approach to getting bigger. They added 390 beds by building these new hospitals from scratch, but they also beefed up their existing spots by adding another 127 beds. It's a pretty smart strategy. Build new things, but also make what you already have even better.
Okay, so 2025 was a fantastic year for them. No doubt about it. But what about the future? Let's take a look at the official prognosis from the company itself. This is their guidance for 2026. Just looking at this chart, the prognosis is pretty clear. They fully expect this healthy trend to keep going. They're forecasting growth across the board, from revenue climbing well past $6 billion to continued strength in their profitability and their earnings per share. So, how are they going to get there? Well, it looks like they're doubling down on the exact strategy that worked so well in 2025. The plan for 2026 is almost a mirror image. Open another 8 new hospitals and add about 175 more beds to their existing facilities. Hey, if the treatment plan is working, you stick with it. But no checkup is complete without looking at the potential risks. It can't all be smooth sailing, right? The healthcare industry is notoriously complex. So let's look at some of the potential complications Encompass has to navigate. First up is something called RCD. The easiest way to think about this is just more red tape for Medicare. It's a program that requires hospitals to get pre-approval for claims to make sure everything's compliant. This adds a pretty big administrative headache, and it could slow down payments in the states where it's happening. It's a big regulatory hurdle they have to clear. And then there's this team model. This is a totally new payment system for Medicare that takes all the costs for a major surgery and the 30 days of care after it and bundles it into one single payment. This basically shifts the financial risk onto the hospital. If a patient's care ends up costing more than that one payment, well, the hospital has to eat that loss. And with 89 other hospitals in these markets, that is a big deal. So, after our comprehensive checkup, what's the final diagnosis? Well, the results are in. Encompass Health looks to be in excellent shape. Its financial vital signs are strong, it has a solid, proven plan for growth, and it's physically expanding. But at the same time, it's also got to be really smart about navigating the super complex world of U.S. healthcare regulations. And that really just leaves us with one final thought. We all know the population is getting older,
and the demand for the exact services Encompass Health provides is set to just keep rising. So the big question is, can they keep this winning strategy going and maintain this healthy prognosis for years and years to come? That's something we'll definitely be watching.